I was banned from family photos and eating instant noodles alone while he celebrated having a dead daughter who chose white over black. But when his heart failed and I was the only surgeon who could save him, suddenly the race traitor he disowned was his last hope. The way he looked at me when I walked into that operating room was pure karma, and what I decided to do shocked everyone. Now the real story begins. My name is Sandra Lawson and I'm 28 years old. 5 years ago, my entire world collapsed over a single phone call that would destroy my family forever. Daddy, I need to tell you something important, I said, pacing nervously in my college dorm room. The acceptance letter to medical school crinkled in my sweaty palm as I tried to find courage for what came next. What is it, baby girl? His voice was warm, proud. I was his firstborn, his princess, the first in our family heading to become a doctor. I'm seeing someone really special who makes me happy. My heart hammered against my ribs. His name is Jaden and he's white. The silence stretched so long I checked if the call had dropped. Then came the explosion. What did you just say to me? His voice turned ice cold, a tone I'd never heard before. You're dating a white boy. Daddy, if you just met him. Don't you dare defend this betrayal, he roared. After everything our ancestors went through, after everything I taught you about pride in your heritage, you throw it all away for some pale-faced boy? Tears stung my eyes. It's not like that. You are dead to me, Sandra. Dead. Don't ever call this house again. The line went silent. My phone clattered to the floor as my legs gave out, my dreams of sharing medical school news evaporating into a nightmare I never saw coming. The next morning brought a harsh reality check. My credit cards were canceled. My bank account, which Daddy had helped fund, was frozen. The car he'd bought me? Gone from the parking lot with a tow truck receipt under my windshield wiper. I called my little sister Maya, hands shaking as I dialed. Maya, thank God. Is Daddy? I can't talk to you, she whispered, her voice thick with tears. Daddy said you chose white people over your own blood. He said if I contact you I'll end up just like you, disowned and alone. Maya, please, I'm still your sister. I'm sorry, Sandra. I love you but I can't. The line went dead. I sat on my dorm room floor, surrounded by acceptance letters I could no longer afford to accept. My roommate Jessica found me there hours later, still clutching my phone. Sandra, what happened? She asked, kneeling beside me. My family, they're gone. All of them. The words felt like glass in my throat. Over a boy they've never even met. Jessica helped me to my feet. What are you going to do? I wiped my tears and looked at that medical school letter. I'm going to prove that love doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. But first, I had to figure out how to pay for medical school without a single family member in my corner. Medical school without family support meant working 3 jobs while carrying a full course load. Mornings at the campus coffee shop, afternoons tutoring undergrads, and weekends cleaning office buildings. My hands were constantly raw from cleaning chemicals. My eyes burned from studying until dawn. Jaden tried to help financially but I refused. This is something I have to do myself, I told him during one of our rare dates at a cheap diner. Baby, you're killing yourself, he said, watching me add my 3rd packet of sugar to my coffee for the caffeine boost. Let me help. If I take your money then Daddy was right. That I chose you for the wrong reasons. I squeezed his hand. I need to prove I can stand on my own. Meanwhile, whispers followed me everywhere. Other Black students had heard about my family situation through the grapevine. Some were sympathetic, others judgmental. Girl, you really chose a white boy over your family? One girl asked in the anatomy lab. I chose love, I replied, not looking up from my cadaver. Something my father apparently never taught me about. The isolation was suffocating. During family weekend, I watched other students with their proud parents while I sat alone in my apartment studying. I'd see Black families on campus and feel a stab of longing so sharp it took my breath away. But every night I'd look in the mirror and whisper, "You've got this, Sandra. You don't need anyone's approval to become who you're meant to be." Word traveled fast in our tight-knit Black community. By my 2nd year of medical school, everyone knew about Robert Lawson's daughter who betrayed her race for a white boy. The story grew more twisted with each telling. At the grocery store, Mrs. Henderson from church cornered me. "Sandra, baby, I heard what happened. Your daddy's telling everyone you're just playing doctor, that you'll never make it without family money." My stomach dropped. He said what? Says you're gonna fail out and come crawling back, begging forgiveness. Her eyes were full of pity. Maybe if you just apologized. For what? For falling in love. I pushed my card away, my hands trembling with rage. Later that week, I ran into my cousin Marcus at the hospital where I was doing clinical rotations. His face went rigid when he saw me. Sandra. His voice was flat. Marcus, how's the family? How's Maya? I asked desperately. Don't. He stepped back like I was contagious. Uncle Robert made it clear, you're not family anymore. Maya's doing fine, by the way. She's at Howard now, studying journalism. Following the right path. The implication hung heavy between us. Unlike me. You could still come home, you know, he said quietly. If you just leave Jaden. I finished. Pretend I never loved him? Marcus shrugged. Love fades. Families forever. Not this family, I whispered, walking away. By my 3rd year, the exhaustion was eating me alive. I'd fallen asleep during lectures twice, my grades slipping dangerously. My attending physician, Dr. Sullivan, pulled me aside after a particularly brutal surgery rotation. Lawson, what's going on with you? He demanded. You've got the skills, but you're running on fumes. I wanted to break down to tell him about working until 2 a.m. cleaning offices, then studying until dawn, surviving on instant ramen and sheer will. Instead, I straightened my shoulders. Just adjusting to the workload, sir. His eyes narrowed. Cut the bullshit. I've seen students crack under pressure. You're close to the edge. That night, Jaden found me crying over my anatomy textbook at 3 a.m. Dark circles hung under my eyes like bruises, and my hands shook from too much caffeine and too little sleep. This is insane, Sandra. Call your dad. Apologize. Whatever it takes. No. The word exploded out of me. I will not crawl back to a man who threw away his daughter like garbage. I will not validate his hatred. Then let me help you. And prove him right. That I'm just some gold digger who chose white privilege over black pride. I slammed my book shut. I'd rather die trying than succeed because of you. Jaden recoiled like I'd slapped him. Maybe I had with my words. I love you, I whispered. But I have to do this alone. 4th year brought new humiliations. During a family medicine rotation, a black patient looked at my name tag and asked, You Robert Lawson's daughter? My blood went cold. Yes, sir. His expression soured. Heard you turned your back on your people for some white boy. Shame. He requested a different doctor. This happened 3 more times that month. My reputation in the community was poison, and it was affecting my patient care. Some refused treatment from me entirely. Dr. Kim, my supervising resident, noticed the pattern. What's going on, Lawson? Why are patients requesting transfers? The humiliation burned my cheeks. Personal family issues, ma'am. Fix it, she said bluntly. Or find another career. Medicine requires trust, and if patients won't trust you. That evening I called Maya one last time. Miraculously she answered. Sandra. Her voice was older, tired. Maya, I know Daddy said not to talk to me, but I need you to know something. I'm about to graduate medical school. Top of my class in surgery. Silence. I did it without family money, without help, working 3 jobs and sleeping 4 hours a night. I did it because I love medicine, not because I'm trying to prove anything to Daddy. Sandra. Her voice cracked. Tell him I said I hope he's proud. And if he's not, that's his loss, not mine. I hung up before she could respond. Graduation day arrived with bittersweet triumph. I walked across that stage alone, no family cheering in the audience. Only Jaden, beaming with pride, and a few close friends who'd become my chosen family. Dr. Sandra Lawson, the dean announced, and I felt a surge of fierce pride. I'd earned every letter of that title. My residency in cardiothoracic surgery was brutal, 18-hour days, life or death decisions, and attending physicians who pushed us beyond human limits. But I thrived. Every successful surgery, every life saved proved I belonged here. Dr. Patterson, the chief of surgery, became an unexpected mentor. During my 2nd year of residency, he pulled me aside. Lawson, I've been watching you. You've got something special, the hands of a surgeon and the heart of a healer. But you're angry about something, and that anger is going to eat you alive if you don't deal with it. I'm fine, sir. No, you're not. You operate like you're trying to prove something to someone who isn't even in the room. His eyes were kind but firm. Deal with your ghosts or they'll haunt your scalpel. He was right. Every surgery felt like a battle against my father's voice telling me I'd never amount to anything. Every successful operation was a middle finger to his prejudice. But anger was exhausting. And I was so tired of being angry. By my final year of residency, I'd earned respect throughout the hospital. Nurses requested me for their difficult cases. Attending physicians sought my opinions. I was becoming the surgeon I'd always dreamed of being. The only shadow over my success was the persistent loneliness. Jaden and I had grown apart during my residency. The demands of surgery left little time for relationships. We'd broken up amicably 6 months ago, both acknowledging that we'd become different people. "I'm proud of you," he'd said during our final dinner together. "You became exactly who you were meant to be." "At what cost?" I'd asked, looking around my empty apartment. Now at 27 I was Dr. Lawson, one of the most promising cardiothoracic residents in the city. I had my own apartment, my own car, my own life built entirely on my own terms. But late at night, the silence was deafening. I'd sometimes catch glimpses of my family at community events. Daddy looked older, grayer. Maya had graduated from Howard and was working at a local news station. She was beautiful, successful, everything he could want in a daughter. But she wasn't me. And despite everything, I sometimes wondered if he missed me too. The wondering always passed by morning. I had surgeries to perform, lives to save. I couldn't waste time on what-ifs and maybes. Tuesday, November 15th, 11:47 p.m. I was dead asleep after a 16-hour surgery day when my pager exploded with an emergency code. My phone rang immediately after. "Dr. Lawson? This is Dr. Oliver from the ER. We need you here now. Massive MI, patient in cardiogenic shock, and Dr. Stevens is stuck in another surgery." I was pulling on my scrubs before she finished talking. 10 minutes. The hospital's fluorescent lights felt harsh after the darkness of my apartment. I grabbed the patient's chart from Oliver, scanning vitals that made my blood run cold. This person was dying and fast. "What do we know?" I asked, pushing through the trauma bay doors. 53-year-old male, massive anterior wall MI. Came in conscious but crashed 20 minutes ago. "We've got him on pressors, but his numbers are tanking fast." I looked down at the chart for the patient's name and felt the world tilt on its axis. Robert Lawson. My hands froze on the clipboard. The room seemed to spin around me as 5 years of pain and anger collided with my medical training. "Dr. Lawson?" Oliver's voice sounded distant. "Are you okay?" I looked up at the trauma bay where my father, the man who'd called me dead to him, was fighting for his life. "I need a minute," I whispered. I stood outside the trauma bay for 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. Through the glass I could see him, older, frilier than I remembered. Unconscious, with tubes and wires keeping him tethered to life. Dr. Stevens appeared at my shoulder, still in surgical scrubs from his previous case. "Lawson, thank God you're here. This one's bad. Triple vessel disease, extensive damage. Honestly, I'm not sure he's salvageable." "What do you mean?" My voice came out steady despite the earthquake in my chest. "The damage is too extensive. Even if we operate, his chances are maybe 20%. And that's being optimistic." Stevens looked exhausted. "The family's been notified. They're on their way." Family. Maya would be coming. Maybe others. They'd walk into this hospital and see me, the daughter who'd been erased from their lives, holding their patriarch's fate in my hands. "Stevens, I need to tell you something." My mouth felt like cotton. "This patient, he's my father." Stevens' eyes widened. "Jesus, Lawson. Are you okay to do this?" Could I separate the surgeon from the abandoned daughter? Could I cut into the man who'd cut me out of his life? "I'm the only one here who can save him," I said quietly. "The question is whether I should." Stevens stared at me. "That's not a question and you know it. He's a patient. You're a doctor." But it wasn't that simple. Nothing with my father ever was. I walked into the trauma bay and my father's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, confusion clouded his features. Then recognition hit and his face crumpled. "Sandra." His voice was barely a whisper through the oxygen mask. "Hello, Daddy." The word tasted strange after 5 years of silence. Tears started flowing down his cheeks. "Baby girl. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I said, everything I did." His hand moved weakly toward mine. Please don't let me die. Please. The monitors around us beeped frantically as his heart struggled. This man, who'd called me a disgrace, who'd erased me from family photos, who'd told everyone I was dead to him, was begging me to save his life. Daddy, I need you to stay calm. We're going to take you to surgery. Will you? He could barely speak. Will you be the one? I looked at this broken man who'd broken me so completely. 5 years of anger warred with 22 years of loving him as my hero, my protector, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped with homework. Dr. Lawson? The surgical nurse appeared. Or 3 is ready. The choice was mine. I could step back, let another surgeon handle it, watch from the sidelines as someone else tried to save the man who'd destroyed my world. Or I could do what I'd trained my entire life to do. Save lives regardless of who they belonged to. Prep him for surgery, I said, my voice steady as steel. I'll see you in or 3, Daddy. I scrubbed in with hands that had never been steadier. 5 years of anger crystallized into surgical precision. This wasn't about forgiveness or family. This was about proving that I was exactly who I'd always claimed to be. Dr. Stevens assisted as I opened my father's chest, exposing his damaged heart. The muscle was barely functioning, starved of blood and oxygen. In the harsher lights, I could see why everyone thought he was too far gone. Jesus, Stevens muttered. That's extensive damage. Triple bypass, mitral valve repair, possible ventricular reconstruction, I said, my voice calm despite the magnitude of what lay ahead. We're going to be here a while. For the next 6 hours, I worked with the focused intensity that had gotten me through medical school, through residency, through every challenge that had tried to break me. My hands moved with practiced precision, years of training taking over. Pressure stabilizing, the anesthesiologist called out. Good. Let's get the first graft in place. I worked methodically, rebuilding the coronary arteries that would give his heart new life. Stevens watched in amazement. Lawson, this is incredible work. I've never seen anyone tackle this complex a case with such precision. By hour 4, something had shifted. My father's heart began responding, the damaged muscle showing signs of recovery. What had seemed impossible was becoming reality. He's going to make it, Stevens said quietly. Against all odds, you did it. As I prepared the final sutures, I realized something profound had happened in that I hadn't just saved my father's life. I'd proved to myself that love really was stronger than hate. 3 days later, I sat beside my father's ICU bed as he slowly awakened from sedation. Maya was there too. She'd been camping at the hospital since the surgery, alternating between crying and staring at me like I was a ghost. The doctors said you saved his life, she whispered. They said nobody else would have even tried a surgery that complex. Daddy's eyes opened, finding mine immediately. Sandra. His voice was stronger now. You came back. I never left, Daddy. You pushed me away. He closed his eyes, tears leaking out. I was so angry, so afraid. Afraid you'd forget where you came from, who you were. I never forgot. But I also never forgot that love doesn't see color. You taught me that kindness matters more than anything else. Then you forgot it yourself. Can you forgive me? He asked, his hand reaching for mine. I looked at this man who'd caused me so much pain, who'd forced me to become stronger than I ever thought possible. The anger that had fueled me for 5 years was still there, but it no longer defined me. Daddy, I forgave you the moment I picked up that scalpel. Because that's who you raised me to be. Someone who chooses love over hate, healing over hurting. Maya started crying. I missed you so much, Sandra. We all did. I know. I squeezed their hands. I missed you too. 6 months later, Daddy walked Maya down the aisle at her wedding. I stood beside her as maid of honor, wearing the same scrubs I'd worn that night, because she insisted I was her hero and heroes should dress the part. Sometimes love really is stronger than prejudice. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones who need our healing touch. And sometimes the best revenge against hate is simply refusing to let it win. I'm Dr. Sandra Lawson. And I save lives, even when they belong to people who tried to destroy mine. Looking back, maybe I should have seen this coming and handled it better from the start. But in the moment, this felt like my only option. What would you have done differently?